stylists and fabulous fiber friends who also sew. The other day I recorded a little video on how I make my bias tape to go along with my video on how I apply or install bias tape. Excuse me. And I thought I would record this little preamble because I do not have an overhead mounted device for my camera, and so using the tripod I had a little difficulty in angling the camera in such a way that you guys could see in my hands, etc., etc. So I thought I would just give you a little quick overview here, and then I will insert the video. When I edit this all together, I will include the video on how I make my bias tape. But I'm going to go over it now with you here, just so that when you do see the video to follow, the instructions, hopefully it'll make more sense. At some point, when I invest in a mounted, what are they called? Like an overhead mounting for my camera, so that I can work down, I can work here and then have the camera point down and show what I'm working on instead of me angling. At some point, when I do have such a little tool, then I will probably re-record all of this. In the meantime, I take a piece of fabric or something that is either complements or contrasts with a garment I'm making. I'm thinking on this particular garment, I think I used bias tape that matches this, but on many of my garments I do not. I will do something completely different just to, you don't see it, but if you do get a little peek at the inside of a garment, around the sleeves or anything, or the neckline, you will see some pretty contrasting fabrics. Oh, also with regards to that, I have hemming the bottom of garments like dresses. I've been doing a lot of dress number ones, and so I have a difficult time rolling the hem and seaming it and making it real nice. So I actually run my bias tape along the hem of my garments and do the same thing that I do with my sleeves and necklines. I am sure that you sewists out there are cringing at that, but that's what I do for now. It's easy for me, and at some point I will teach myself to do a proper hemline. But for now, that's how I'm doing my hems. And I have fun playing with colors there too, because sometimes, right, if you sit down with if it's a dress or a long tunic, you may sit down and cross your legs and you get just a little peekaboo of a different fabric from the fabric of the garment you're wearing. So that all said, I will take a piece of fabric. I lay the fabric, whatever fabric you want to use, either the same fabric that you're using for your garment, or if you want to use a contrasting fabric for your bias tape, I lay that out on a cutting mat that has grid lines on it. Then I take my OmniGrid ruler, which also has lines in it, and you can see through it, and I use a pencil. I know, cringe, 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 all of you expert sewists out there. And the fabric I put to the wrong side facing up. And I will use my ruler and then just draw lines every inch. So right now I am using 1 inch bias tape. I don't know that that's always going to be the case, but that is what I'm doing right now. I can position this ruler, the OmniGrid, at a 45-degree angle, and then I draw pencil lines on the wrong side of the fabric that you're cutting for your bias, and I make a lot of lines. Just faint. You don't have to bear down on the pencil. Just make quick, faint lines. And then I will go back, and I make a lot of them, maybe 10 or 12, depending on the size of the fabric that I'm working with. And then I come back with my pinking shears. Yes, I know, again, cringe, cringe, cringe. I use a pinking shears. I prefer pinking shears only because when my bias tape sits for a while, it doesn't fray as much. But please use any sharp scissor or rotary cutter. I am not so good with the rotary cutter. I don't know why, but my fabric tends to move and it makes me a bit bonkers. So I use a pinking shears. So you may be able to see, and you will see in the video, you'll see my ruler line. I don't know that you'll be able to see it here. It may not focus, but you'll see it on the video to follow. So I make all my lines, then I go with my pinking shears, and I cut strips, right? You place these at a 90-degree angle, right? And then you're going to sew from this corner here to this corner here. You just make a straight line. I'm hoping that focuses, right? So 90-degree angle. And if you want, you can stick a little pin in here at a diagonal just until you get the fabric positioned under the sewing machine. And then remove the pin, but you will sew from that corner to that corner. You can see I have my right angle, and I sewed from this corner, you can see my little threads, to that corner. And then you open it out, and there's one attachment. Then you will move over. This is the piece you sewed to the first piece. So then you will take another strip right side to right side and sew them corner to corner. So I take my Omni grip, and of course it's all marked off in inches. I make mine an inch wide. So because of the markings, I'm able to just move this ruler up. I line up, I use actually a pencil. I know people don't like to do this, but I do it because it's on the back side of the fabric and the cutting line is there. And I take a pencil and I just draw, right, draw a line at a 45-degree angle. Oh, and this, to start, you can line up your squares with the squares on your cutting board and get your 45-degree angle. And then I just keep moving, right? I line up, I've got little notches in there, or they're not notches, they're little areas where you can see through. Let me see if I can zoom in so that I can see the line that I created before. So I just draw another line, and I do this all the way across my fabric. Then what I will do is I go in. Now you can use either a rotary cutter or a scissor. I like the pinking shears, and cut across those lines. Once I have all of my strips cut, you will take right side to right side, and because I'm a little anal about the precision of my stitching, I will sew from this corner here to this corner here. So I'm making, right, I'm sewing in this direction from here to here. I line that up, I make sure I lower my needle, I can take my pin out, I make sure that that is lined up with the center of your presser foot. I backstitch, it isn't necessary, I suppose, but I've had problems where, oops, oh God, now I didn't, wait. Once you've made all, once you've used up all your fabric or made the amount of bias tape that you want to make, then I go ahead and I take my little pinking shears and I will snip off these little corners, right, so that they're not so bulky. And I will go and I will press those seams open. I know this isn't the best quality. I'm a one-person show here with my production crew is a crew of one. But I hope that makes sense for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment here on YouTube or message me on Instagram. Expert sewists might find my method a little fussy or not, but I would be curious to see if and when you try this, please let me know if it works for you. And if it doesn't, please let me know why. Things you like, things you don't like, because maybe we can all improve upon this particular technique. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time around. Bye!